And controversy, brothers and sisters, we are finally back. We finally made it to another reaction on this here Friday edition Mystelics Reacts channel. Big up on yourself for tuning into yet another vibration. All the Mystelics family, big up on yourself one time. And of course, the newcomers on there, big up on yourself for tuning into these vibrations. You see what's up? What's going on in this channel, brothers and sisters? This is, of course, where I give my thoughts and a number of things pretty much pertaining to the Caribbean people, Dominica specifically, and of course, linking back to the international community right there and then. So don't forget to, brothers and sisters, click the thumbs up button. Click it, brothers and sisters. I would appreciate that right there. Click it. I would appreciate that, brothers and sisters. And of course, subscribe and turn on that post notification if you have not done so yet. Subscribe, brothers and sisters, so you'll be notified when I drop my videos right there, and of course being notified, and of course being part of the Mystelics family in that regard right there. Anyways, brothers and sisters, let us get into the vibrations. Today is Friday. Well, this one is a bit serious, but let us try and get into the vibrations for the day right there. Stop SKERRIT, brothers and sisters. This is what this article is indicated right there. You can zoom in on this stuff. I know some of you don't see properly. All right. Stop SKERRIT from going to parliament with his electoral reform bills, brothers and sisters. His own, not that of the reflection that will create free and fair elections for the people. No, he's going with his own. And of course, brothers and sisters, they are indicating some sort of, Dominica, it's your right to stop the parliament ruling on March 18th, 2025. Is it the 18th though? Because I saw another one. Let me see if I see it. This, the 19th, Operation Restore Hope. So I'm guessing there's going to be two of them right there, where it stops Parliament from pushing SKERRIT's electoral reform. For SKERRIT to say, oh, we pass electoral reform, man, we pass it. You don't reflect the will of the people, you know, to have free and fair elections. You want to pass your own, brothers and sisters. Can you imagine somebody paying somebody $750,000 to the electoral reform, when the person, even though it's late, the person still brings it, and then you reject it? The people's money just going to waste, just like that. Very interesting stuff. Right there, brothers and sisters. But on March 8th, ruling, brothers and sisters, people are saying to stop the dirty ways. It has been indicated to be on the 19th, though I think they're going to have some sort of meeting. But if you want to definitely stop that stupidness from happening, brothers and sisters, this is Dominica's at stake. I don't think Dominica understands how at stake it is. You want to understand how at stake it is? Bring the clip, man.
20 years of
20 years,
you now 6 by 7. You don't feel like somebody around you one day.
You don't feel it not yet? No. No. A little? You know something is wrong in Dominica, brothers and sisters. You can smell it, you can taste it, you can see it, you can hear it, brothers and sisters. You can touch it. You know something is wrong. And for the past 20 years, this man has been destroying Dominica.
You now 6 by 7. You don't feel like somebody around you one day.
Not yet, no.
You're not feeling like somebody robbed you of a life that God gave you to live in your own life.
Imagine that same person now wants to pass his own electoral reform onto the people so that he can continue winning his election legacy, brothers and sisters. Hey, last week, Dominicans, all you wake up one day, but most likely by the time you wake up, finally wake up, it'll be too late, man. That's why we keep saying, you guys, you need to do something. It's already too late now. It's too late. We see what is happening with the economy and scare them off. They are enriched themselves. Oh, I know this. They might have 2 mansions for sure. The third one, it's alleged that it was given to him as a gift from MMCE because of all the wealth that was given to MMCE. It's interesting what you learn in times like these, brothers and sisters. 20 years and SKERRIT once more. This is why it's so important for people to show up, man. Show up or show out. Look, they're talking about Silver Airways. I remember that one, right? Yes, brothers and sisters, Silver Airways has decided to pull out of Dominica because of the I think bankruptcy or whatever they say. But they're pulling out of Dominica, you know. Dominica, they're pulling out of. They're not ceasing operation, you know, from my understanding. They are pulling out of Dominica, which of course is very interesting right there. I guess this will be the new one. We'll travel on helicopter from Puerto Rico to Dominica. Okay, at least we have the helicopter. All right. If you keep people exhausted, and this is one of the reasons why I think a lot of people don't seem to show up, because we keep hearing these things over and over and over. People say, oh, talk is talk. Now for you to show your action. To say, we don't want your electoral reform, SKERRIT. You don't want it. We don't want it at all. But of course, as indicated right there, if you keep people exhausted and distracted, where they feel like they cannot do anything, they just have to abide and follow the rules. Because if they don't abide and follow the rules, they will fall short. But brothers and sisters, unification is essential in this regard. You know why? Because if 1-2 people are doing it, they wouldn't bother. But if 30,000-40,000 people are doing it in a population that is about 50,000 or 55,000, give or take, brothers and sisters, more or less, then definitely the voices will be heard. This is why unification is so important. How on earth Dominicans have allowed themselves to make this thing happen to them? How? How, brothers and sisters? How is this even possible right there? If you keep the people exhausted and distracted, they won't organize because they're constantly, I'm trying to survive, you know. And talking about survival, brothers and sisters, sometimes you remove the people's ability for them to survive. You remove what it'll take them to be able to survive on their own. And therefore, they are happy for the breadcrumbs. They are not able to get the bread anymore. They have to leave Dominica to get the bread. I tell you, boy, if you keep them struggling and divided, they won't resist because they are struggling home. What you tell me about that for? What you tell me? They don't even know if you go after that. If you do these things, the people unified and do these things, this is what will literally free these people from the struggle at the end. But because they're saying, but why? Sometimes they wondering why they should do it. It's interesting. Look at human cognition. The system isn't broken. No, it's not. It's working as designed. How Dominica is functioning is not broken, brothers and sisters. When I say how Dominica going, this is intentionally happening to Dominica. The powers and authorities in the establishments, brothers and sisters, are doing this to Dominica. They are doing it to Dominica. How on earth? You tell me you have all these resources in Dominica. All these resources in Dominica. And you mean to tell me that for some reason or the other, we cannot elevate St. Vincent and the Grenadines elevate far beyond Dominica? $1 billion economy. St. Vincent. The other day I reacted to Antigua Prime Minister on the basis of them giving Asa $100 and money pull-ups in some sort of event that he had in Antigua. The Prime Minister saying our bonus alone is more than the entire GDP of Dominica. Antigua, almost probably 40%, 45% of Dominica is Antigua. The GDP, they say they reach 6 billion. Dominica, boy, that is 10 times more than Dominica. You know that? Dominica is about $600 and something million. Antigua's break $6 billion, as indicated by Gaston Brown himself. They moved from 3 point something to 6 billion, a $2.2 billion increase. If you keep people exhausted and distracted, they won't even organize to get themselves out because they are so busy. And on top of that, you keep them struggling and divided. They won't resist because they are struggling and divided. They're confused what to do. Oh my God, let me just focus on myself. Me. Greed. The very great book spoke about greed, brothers and sisters. I don't think people don't read the great book. They don't read the great book. If there was, then this would not have been a problem right there. The system isn't broken. It is by design. What is happening today, brothers and sisters? Very interesting stuff. I saw this person make this comment as well. One of the misappropriation of the CBI millions is standing in the middle of Roseau. It is called the House of Dark Secrets. When SKERRIT was asked, who's for that building now? Why are you asking me for that building for? Is my building now? Go to thing and find out who building that there. Take big offense. When they ask him about the increase in salaries, he said, I don't think Dominicans should be asking people about the increase in salaries. The very Dominicans that pay them not to increase their salaries, you know. But Dominicans stay quiet. And they ball in. Asking later, come and do something for us now. Look, come and do something. I never see that yet in my life. Mankind working towards the very slavery that they escaped from. In a different format. Oh, ancestors would flip. They would flip those somersaults, brothers and sisters, gymnastics in their graves if they knew what was taking place in Dominica. The very slavery that they escaped from, we might not be physically freed, but we are still some mental slaves. That is a heck of a thing right there, brothers and sisters. It is called the House of Dark Secrets. I even hear that apparently they want to rent that house for $1 million from the Dominican purse. For the boy. Guys, who is working for who in Dominica? Who? Well, you don't know. Well, let me see. Because the thieves are afraid of Mr. Linton. Yeah, they are definitely afraid of Mr. Linton. That's why they try their best for them to see if they can, bring them down. It has been indicated out to me also. Not indicated, I saw the article as well. But the government is appealing the decision that has been stated out for Mr. Edison James, Mr. Lennox Linton, and of course none other than Dr. Thompson Fontaine. When the judge was like, no, that case doesn't make any sense. They appeal the decision. But it's not on the appeal that they know that they were going to win, brothers and sisters. It is the appeal for them to get more time. Everything, brothers and sisters, time is the greatest currency on planet Earth, brothers and sisters. I don't think we understand that fully, They understand the rule of time, just like the injection, brothers and sisters. It's not like they didn't know the truth was going to come out, but they needed as much time to get as much people to inject it in their bodies. As much time as possible before the truth finally comes out. Brothers and sisters, sometimes the truth might be, we might wonder, what is the truth? The truth will eventually come out, That is the beautiful thing about the truth. You see what is happening in the United States right now? We'll talk about something, but you will not see what is happening with the USA, that all this corruption, 4.7 up to $10 trillion in corruption, with the very Democratic Party people coming and say, hey, look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing. They're not looking at the corruption that was found, brothers and sisters. They're looking at who was finding corruption that they were involved in. Can you imagine that? People's salaries per year doesn't meet the criteria that of which they are living in today. Highway class robbery, brothers and sisters. But people are looking at the corruption that was found. They're looking at who is finding the corruption. And the people, you man something else, boy. You man's really something else, The people not focusing on the corruption that was found. They are focusing on the people who find the corruption. That's insane, bro. That is truly something else, brothers and sisters. Comparing the corrupt DLP of today to the DLP of Rosie Douglas is reckless and foolish, and still have the audacity to say that DLPs of SKERRIT is a party of principle. Wicked people can say these things. Who can say they also say these things if they are also in cahoots with the very corrupt people themselves. It is interesting when you look at the dynamic of when illegal substances are being passed around. And even though you might not be someone who's participating in it, but you know about it, and if the police come and they find this in your thing, all you getting arrested, You know that? All you getting arrested. They might free you a bit later, but because of the association, brothers and sisters, if you are corrupt and you are associated with corruption and you're not saying anything about the corruption, you are equally participating in the corruption because they increase your salaries. You staying quiet as if you don't know what's going on. I tell you, boy. Well, it is what it is. And then to compare what Roosevelt Douglas them stood for, versus what SKERRIT them doing. Come on, brothers and sisters, come on. When you look at Portsmouth and Granby is one of the strongholds of DLP. If one set of people must win for the Labour seat, the Labour seat would definitely be won in Portsmouth and Granby. Who are the most neglected place? That's how Portsmouth was the number one community in Dominica. The number one. In fact, the contributing factor ranged from 30 to 45% of the very GDP factor. Dominica GDP used to be higher than it is today. You know that? You know that, right? No? Maybe? Give or take? All right. Moral and sisters. Somebody else also say, one have to wonder what stupid bush Roosevelt's carried given to Ian Douglas and others to turn them into stupid zombies. Well, I know the bush, It is real bush. Yes, real bush they're giving them, but it's altered bush. So when you increase the altered bush in your monthly salary, what do you expect? Huh? What do you expect? If you was getting $6,000 and they increase it by $2,500, that is $8,500. As money as you will never make working teaching job or working in the government. I saw a comment with the indication where individuals think Dominicans are making $2,000. You wish $2,000 a month. That is dream. That is a dream for Dominica to say the average Dominican's making $2,000. You crazy? The average Dominica makes about 1,100. I am comparing everything together. That's to tell you how low it is, my God. $1,100. I think it was 1,002. It decreased, and then you have the inflationary value. So the value of that very $1,000 is much less today. I remember back in the day, you see those little Vitamol, brothers and sisters. We used to buy this Vitamol for $3.50. Sometimes even $3. It's about that Vitamol, the candy Vitamol, brothers. Today, people selling at $5 and $6. Because that something else. And it's interesting, in St. Lucia, you go and buy these things for $2, $2.50. The shandy, brothers and sisters, now they're selling in Dominica $6 and $7. They want to sell it now. It's $3, $3.35 or $3.40, $3.40. Can you imagine that? And you say, but wait, what? How Dominica on high so? How? I mean, brothers and sisters, sometimes when you travel, it opens your eyes. It opens your eyes. But I realize a lot of Dominicans don't travel because the very government has caused this to happen. They weaken the people's ability to make salaries so they can get a freedom to travel. When the government trying to tell you to save a $200 and you know you cannot save a $200, where you going? We're talking about international airport. Where you going? Huh? You think international airport is $1.50? Okay. In France, you be. Go ahead. Go pay $1.50. Yes, Lord. Brothers and sisters, one have to wonder what stupid bush. Well, the bush that they're giving them is increasing their salaries. They're getting boisterous, let's increase their salaries. Because they know who to go. Because the people who are the representative, and in fact, the people didn't choose some of the representatives that they have, but they still voted for them because somebody else chose it for them. That is something else. The question here is
20 years of your life is gone. You are now 60, 70, and you don't feel like somebody around you one day. You're not feeling like somebody robbed you of the life that God gave you from living in your own land.
Let me repeat that again.
You have the life that God gave you from living in your own land. You're not feeling like somebody robbed you of the life that God gave you from living in your own land.
You're not feeling like somebody robbed you from the life that you are supposed to live in your own, that God gave you. Ay, ay, ay. Dominicans only don't feel that way. That somebody rob you of the life, the God-given life that He has given you. You don't feel like somebody rob you of that. You don't feel so? This is why this is important, brothers and sisters. Operation Restore Hope, March 19th, 2025. Right there. We the people have the power. We the people have the power. So show it now. If you the people have the power.
Yeah, so
this is in Maho right there, brothers and sisters, of some individual that came down from the United States. Steele's Kitchen is in Dominica right now, and he's having a bit of a meal with his friend, and this is what his friend had to say right there.
we're having a breakfast, with my man Chow Chow.
Yeah.
We're talking about life, Chow Chow. Chow Chow, what, tell me about something about, the present stuff going in Dominica. What do you think about what the present, the administration, the government? Tell me something about the government, Chow Chow.
This government is only for its own alone.
Oh my God, tell him, Charlie.
Do you think so? The government is for its own alone? Do we see the evidence of that? Do we see the evidence that the government is doing things for their own alone? We see buildings coming up, brothers and sisters, on the basis of what? Is it money laundering that is taking place? And you think they're actually doing things for you while giving you the breadcrumbs? The economy is not elevating at all for you to actually do things for yourself. Not at all. It's not doing so. But we definitely see it has been compared and understood that there's a huge possibility that SKERRIT is a billionaire today. This is why we see Melissa coming with all sorts of fancy stuff and, expensive shoes and all kind of clothes. For what? One of the things I don't understand, especially when you see people in certain spheres, they come dress up nice to impress who? People who have less than you. It's kind of like when people, that's one of the things I never understood, brothers and sisters. When people have all these gold chains and these things, and you have these gold chains and you have these bracelets and all this nice dressing and so forth, and you come down Dominica and you're looking nice. Yes, you're shining and so forth. But who you looking to impress? On the merit of that, if you go places like California and Houston and these places there, these things are common. These things are common. Sometimes they don't even wear it because they feel low to be wearing stuff that they should have in the bank. It's interesting when you look at different sectors, brothers and sisters. And when you see you wear these things in other places, like, okay, yeah, you have gold chain, great. You know, you have this, you have fancy, that's nice. I was in a neighborhood, brothers and sisters, where everybody had Lamborghinis in the yard. Everybody, Lamborghinis and Ferraris, they had all sorts of high class. And it's like, okay, yeah, you have a nice, but I have one too. You know, it's like everybody's the same. We've had, boy. And then you come out from certain neighborhoods. Look at places like Dubai and Singapore, where these people have a lot of expensive vehicles. That is like a normal thing to them. You're seeing people passing these things on the road. Nobody said, oh my God, look at this. But if you see you passing a Lamborghini outside, brothers and sisters, it shows this fear of kind of people that are there. So you dress up to impress people who make less than you in parliament. You come to talk and you dress with expensive clothes. That's what we do. When these things are not impressive amongst other people who actually have this stuff, who are we impressing? I never understood that. Anyways, let's continue.
This government, it's only one government. One man show.
A one-man show.
Government tour.
But that's true. This is a one-man show. That's why sometimes people ask me, who is the minister of this and who is the minister of that? I don't know who is the minister of this and that because only SKERRIT we're seeing. When there was this situation in Kalibishi that happened, brothers and sisters, SKERRIT was engineer, he was minister of education, he was PRO. What else he was now? The engineer. What else he was? He was everything, brothers and sisters. Everything. And then you had the other people who are actually ministers and land or whatever around there. They're quiet. They're quiet. And you want me to know who minister of this and we know who minister of tourism is. Look, Silver Airways. Okay.
Government.
They literally write on the article that they will be leaving Dominica. So, you know, leaving the other places. Most likely they have decided Dominica is not viable for them. And have decided to leave. Move away from Dominica because Dominica is not a sustainable place for them to continue operations. So they take out the first. You think they will be taking out one of the most successful places, brothers and sisters? If Dominica is so viable? You think?
I'm telling you.
That's it.
When he does what he does, he prey on their minds, you see?
Okay.
Ignorance is bliss.
So he give who can afford, he give them, so they always there for him.
Yeah, the breadcrumbs, they call that.
Oh my
So
God.
he was a hero.
Oh.
Getting breadcrumbs and calling somebody giving you breadcrumbs hero. Even though that very person that giving you breadcrumbs is the one taking away the bread from you. But you calling him the hero. I remember this lady from Portsmouth crying, SKERRIT, come back, come back. I was like, the lady don't know she crying for her own oppressor. Boy, that is something else.
He's a hero.
He's a big hero.
Chow.
Get closer.
Close.
They laughing there and thing, they're freeing up because they're eating a meal, but my sister, this is a serious situation right there. Serious. Talking about serious, brothers and sisters. US threatened to take away Caribbean leaders' visas for working with Cuba. Now, a number of persons always say, Mystelics is always siding with Trump on whatever he's saying and all those kind of things. And brothers and sisters, I know the situation with China and America. And I think America give the alternative. You either side with China or you side with us. No, that one, that should be a given. Given. Okay? You should, why we making, how we making, it's interesting, When Trump saying certain things, brothers and sisters, we vex with Trump, but when it comes down to reality, we actually side with Trump, you know. But because it's Trump that say it. When Trump said choose China or America, we know the government has so much business with China, we have no idea. We owe China how much money, all kind of things. All sorts of things. We vex when China is taking jobs from Dominicans, but when Trump saying is that he choose America, we people vex with Trump. And they don't like Chinese taking over their jobs. They don't like it. But the very government causing you to lose the jobs. When imagine you living in a country and if you can beg foreigners for jobs in your own country that has been handed off by the very government. Bruh. So with the understanding of China and America, I would urge individuals to choose America 100%, brothers and sisters, on the merit of this. With so many Caribbean babies born in the United States, how many babies born in China now? How many Dominica China citizenships we have? Huh? You know it all right. And such large diaspora, can we afford to ignore the United States of America? Absolutely not. You cannot. In fact, when America sneezes, if China sneezes, we don't get any cold, you know, brothers and sisters. If America sneezes, Dominica will definitely get the cold right there. We are caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Interesting word right there. On the matter of this, the Caribbean chose America, as they should. Dominicans should choose America. No doubt about it. Work with the devil, you know. Caribbean nationals don't go to China for opportunities. No, they don't. They do not go out China for opportunities. If they end up there because they go and study, then they utilize whatever opportunities they have there. That's what happens, brothers and sisters. You know that? That's what happens. But they usually go to the United States for opportunities in that regard right there. However, brothers and sisters, on the merit that America has decided to go after Cuba, no, that is where I have a problem. I understand America stands against China, you know, because they are competing against you and so forth. With Cuba? You going after Cuba? No, I cannot side with you there. Not at all, brothers and sisters. Caribbean leaders oppose U.S. policy targeting Cuban medical missions, saying they're critical. Yes, Associated Press. Right there. Opposition MP calls for CARICOM unity in light of U.S. sanctions on Cuban medical programs. Cuba has one of the best medical programs, not in the Western world, you know, brothers and sisters, in the entire world. Cuba, with the all, you know why? It had to focus on more natural elements. It had to focus more on natural healing remedies and utilizing certain things here and there, but they had to focus more on natural healing remedies. One of my friends told me he traveled on motorbike. And motorbike guije him, you know, that's one of the taxis. Motorbike taxi. Guije, brothers and sisters. And he showed me his hand. I said, but nothing happened to him, man. He said, yes, man, we are the best doctors in the world. The man had come back completely how it was back in the day. With the sulfurs and all those kind of things they used. They had to know the remedies, the proper remedies. So when America wants to come and tell people the freedom of choice that they have, is that you side with Cuba, you don't? I disagree with you there. We strongly disagree there. Especially on the merit that Cuba has treated the Caribbean so well. Even St. Vincent and Grenadines is ready to sacrifice the U.S. visa for Cuban Health Brigade right there. And I agree with him, no doubt about it. Even Barbados as well has decided that they're going to stand for Cuba. Stand for Cuba health programs. Now, my understanding of why are they doing this? I understand the merit why they're doing this, because they want people more to focus and rely on the United States. Because if the United States is backing up your U.S. currency, your Eastern Caribbean currency, the United States dollar is backing up the Eastern Caribbean currency. I understand that. We focus on this, okay, we're reliant on the United States, great. You choose United States and all our enemies, quote unquote, should be your enemies. That is not the case. Like, I have some friends of mine, and they're friends with me, and that person friends with me, but these two are enemies. So because they're enemies, that means somehow I have to become all your enemy. Who that? Me? That doesn't work so now. It doesn't work at all. If you cool with me, you never do me no wrong. You cool with me, you never do me wrong. All you do it all that wrong, that's all your business. That has nothing to do with me. If you do me wrong now, that's another story. But if you never do me wrong, in fact, you're looking out for me. Both of you looking out for me. But because all you vex with each other, I'm going to be vexed with you. We need to throw this preschool business outside. Throw that in the bush and burn it with California bush fire. Let's continue. This is Mia Motley on that stance right there.
This matter with the Cubans and the nurses should tell us everything that we need to know. Barbados does not currently have Cuban medical staff or Cuban nurses, but I will be the first to go to the line and to tell you that we could not get through the pandemic without the Cuban nurses and the Cuban doctors.
But I don't know about that part, but I know Cuban doctors and nurses, they are exceptional. They are flawlessly exceptional. And hopefully the world doesn't, when they're going out all over the place, brothers and sisters, hopefully the world doesn't indoctrinate them into their philosophies. Because the world philosophy of the medical fraternity is corrupt. Highly corrupt, brothers and sisters. I would have gone into that whole situation right there, but my time over. So let's continue.
I will also be the first to tell you that we paid them the same thing that we pay Bajans. And that the notion, as was peddled not just by this government in the US, but the previous government, that we were involved in human trafficking by engaging with the Cuban nurses was fully repudiated and rejected by us. Now, I don't believe that we have to shout across the seas, but I am prepared, like others in this region, that if we cannot reach a sensible agreement on this matter, then if the cost of it is the loss of my visa to the US, then so be it. But what matters to us is principles.
Yeah, I strongly disagree with America's stance on Cuba. I strongly. First of all, I don't even think they should have removed the embargo on Cuba. You know why? Because when they removed it the first time, brothers and sisters, inflation just skyrocketed in Cuba. I think there should have been a bit of a process that took place for it to adjust to the rest of the world. Because as soon as they removed that stuff, inflation just went up like crazy. I remember the amount of students that were complaining. This is why a number of students keep reaching out to me and say, Mystelics, the government didn't give us our stipend. They haven't given us stipend for how much months? You know, reaching out to me because things started increasing in Cuba. Things that people, Dominicans would come and sell biscuits. They come and sell biscuit to the Cubans. Imagine coming up from there. They're like, when you come to America and you bring down stuff to sell. Well, Dominicans were doing that in Cuba. What? That's crazy. Dominicans were doing that in Cuba, brothers and sisters. You bring in biscuit and all those kind of things that to go and sell in Cuba, and then you living well off just doing this stuff. It's interesting.
And I have said over and over that principles only mean something when it is inconvenient to stand by it.
Facts. She said that very, very profoundly. Sometimes we always claim that we have principles this and we have principles that. Just like when a particular situation happened in the Middle East, when they were targeting the Christians and going after the Christians. And then they tell them, renounce it or die, brothers and sisters. And they stood and they died instead. And that's integrity, you know. You know that? Not when people want to come and say, oh, I have this and that. Not like when people want to come on mic and talking like, oh, SKERRIT must go, SKERRIT must go. And today they missed the Speaker of the House. Brothers and sisters, integrity is when you really, when the tire hit the road, that's when you truly know. One of the things that my elders always used to tell me, brothers and sisters, don't just take people's word. That's one of the things with me. I strong on that. I very, very strong on words. You make your words and what not good for you is your actions. And I shouldn't say I strong on words. I listen to what you're saying, you know, but I looking at your actions as well. So I'm more inclined with your actions. You say you this and you say you that, great, nice. What is your actions that showing? Your actions, brothers and sisters. To know your friends, brothers and sisters. Not just saying, oh, my friend's there with me. Whoop, 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 whoop. When tire hit the road, when rough time comes, we'll see who your friends are. We'll know your friends are. I remember one particular time that it was really rough, brothers and sisters, in America. I was elevating and, you know, trying to figure things out, and I don't know what's going on. And one of my friends say, hey, Mystelics, what's good, what's good? I say, everything cool, everything whatnot, blah, blah, blah. And I say, what? I just feel like, hey, I said, your ticket, come true. Come and chill with me for 2 weeks. Come and chill. We'll vibes, we'll do this and whatnot. When I went there was a number of gigs and things I was able to do and so forth and so forth. And then I told you, my friend what was going on. And it's like, yo, yeah, you kind of felt it. You know, you kind of felt that vibe, man. I tell you, there is something else, eh? When you have friends looking out for you, brothers and sisters. That is your friends, brothers and sisters. These people are your friends. If people doesn't want to help you and they have no value on your life, they don't put in any value towards you, none at all, and you think these people are your friends? When SKERRIT want to come, they was making a statement about what Gaston was saying about Dominica, and then SKERRIT invite Gaston Brown to come to Dominica and speak on political platform for how much times? Probably every election Gaston Brown coming on Dominica to speak. I remember one time I was in one of the things, you know, somewhere in the south, they had it. Gaston Brown was in the park. He was in the park talking. Yeah, I was there, brothers and sisters. Gaston Brown reached down by and talking. Now today he this in Dominica. He said our increase alone has surpassed Dominica own GDP. Can you imagine that? Let's continue.
No, we don't have to shout, but we can be resolute. And I therefore look forward to standing with my CARICOM brothers. I wish I could say brothers and sisters, but brothers, to be able to ensure that we explain that what the Cubans have been able to do for us, far from approximating itself to human trafficking, has been to save lives and limbs and sight for many a Caribbean person.
No, I agree with what me and Motley have to say right there, and I don't think that they should ever go after the Cubans. I don't think they should have ever thought of doing such a thing. It is a right, an integrity right. I understand if you feel like world powers, first world nation, China. I understand for China, but don't go after Cuba. You cannot go after Cuba. That's crazy. On what merit are you going after Cuba? There's a thought that comes to mind why I think that they're going after Cuba, but I'll leave that there. I'll leave it to marinate. And when I see evidence of it, then I'll say, okay, yes. This is what I was thinking back in the day. Anyways, brothers and sisters, what are your thoughts, man? What has been indicated right there? Are you for Cuba? Are you against Cuba? What are your thoughts? Do you think what America is doing with China and against China, all those kind of things there? I'm more thinking that the United States wants to pull the Caribbean into under its wing, so to speak. I think that's what is happening. Oh, our enemies should be our enemies and so forth and so forth. But we are still independent. We are not children. We are independent and can choose for our own selves. And if especially when people have done great things, this is one of the things I don't understand, especially for Mother Russia and Africa. This is one of the things I think that hurt Mr. P, if you know what I'm talking about. You have to be sensitive in that regard. But Mr. P, you know what I'm talking about right there. He felt it when they wanted to remove Mother Russia from a thing. And the African countries that he stood especially against apartheid, they stood against him. And he stood for them against apartheid. That's interesting, eh? Very interesting stuff right there. So I don't think that is the case for Cuba, because the Caribbean community is definitely standing with Cuba right there, as they should. As they definitely should. I agree with America and China, but I think you go wrong on the Cuba situation right there. That's just my thoughts on this regard right there. Anyways, brothers and sisters, don't forget this right there. Operation Restore Hope, March 19th, 2025. Right there, okay? I'm not sure about the 18th. Maybe the 18th is when it's actually happening, but I saw two of these, so I posted two of these right there, brothers and sisters. March 19th, 2025, in that regard. Operation Restore Hope. Can hope truly be restored in Dominica? Have we gone too far? But Marquesa to allow SKERRIT to do his own thing with electoral reform. That, my friends. I spoke to a particular individual in that regard. I say, well, I understand what you're doing. I understand what you're doing. But if SKERRIT get his way with that electoral reform, it's best you go. It's best you go. There is no more hope for Dominica. None. None at all. But I'm happy they're deporting people, man. I'm happy they're deporting people. Hopefully it's all the Liberites that come back to Dominica. So the Liberites can feel. They can feel, man. Or you escape. A lot of only from St. Joseph. Or you escape. Okay. Grand Bay too. Okay. Alright then. Hello, brothers and sisters. What are your thoughts on this regard? Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. These are just my thoughts, my personal thoughts, brothers and sisters. I'm sharing them with you. What are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. Don't forget to click the like button and click the thumbs up button. I would appreciate that right there, brothers and sisters. And of course, if you've not done so yet, subscribe to become part of the Mystelics family. And of course, to be notified when I drop my videos right there. When I upload and publish it, brothers and sisters, you'll be notified. Pop up, blah, right there. You'll get a notification right there. Anyways, brothers and sisters, with all that study right there, be real, solid king always. So be positive.